One of my favorite things in the world to do is watch Friends. I know it's been off for years and years. It's not even around, but I still find myself binge watching old episodes. And I was thinking about this today and thinking, it's the predictability of the friends in the circle, right? You have Chandler with his quirkiness, Monica with her type A of just everything has to be so neat and tidy and organized. It's Phoebe's ability to make you laugh at her silly songs. Ross always comes in with those smart comments, and Joey and him and his food, like it is just so hilarious. And of course, Rachel, she just brings everybody together, and it's just such this beautiful, cohesive team of people. And it's why I wanted to come on and share with you today that I have an opportunity for you to find your friends in the content creation space. So if you are thinking about creating your first or your next digital course, I don't want you to miss this opportunity because Amy Porterfield just opened the doors for registration for her Course Confident Bootcamp. And I'm actually offering a special bonus for anyone that registers for the Course Confident Bootcamp through my special link. So I want you to go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register. That's crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And what you're going to find when you get there is I have this special bonus private podcast series. It's called Money Mindset for Creators. So I want you to go register for Amy's bootcamp, download the podcast, and immediately start listening to it, because what this training is set up to do is to help you get your mind right about monetizing your content, making money so that you can fuel your content creation dreams. So go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register for Course Confident. And I cannot wait for you to find your friends and find the people that will be there for you. Do you see what I did there? Yeah, nice little friends segue connection. Go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And I cannot wait to see you inside. Okay, let's get into today's episode. Okay, so we are back for part 2 of Craft and Commerce 2024. I am breaking down all the key takeaways and recapping for you all the things that I learned. And because I shared so much and I barely even got through day 1 and we were at like 25 minutes, I was like, we need to break this up. So this is day 2, part 2 of the Craft and Commerce recap. So let's get right to it. Welcome to the Profit Podcast, where we teach you how to start, launch, and market your content with confidence. I'm your host, Crystal Profit, and I'm so excited that you're here. Thanks for hanging out with me today, because if you've been trying to figure out the world of content creation, this is the show that will help be your time-saving shortcut. So let's get right to it, shall we? Okay, so I explained in the first part, all about the big key takeaways and all the things that I learned at Craft and Commerce from day 1. Now we're moving into day 2, and I want to share some of the things that I learned, but I'm just going to dive right in because, again, so much to share. So the first one was Susie Bullock. So she has the brand called Hey Girl Hey, which is so funny because my good friend Christina Lenkowski, who is she's local in Boise, she had said, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. My husband is obsessed with Hey Girl Hey. And I was like, what? Let me just say this. I thought she was saying Hey Girl Hey. And I was like, your husband is obsessed with this? And I didn't even tell Christina this because I was too embarrassed to admit I was mishearing her until Susie gets on one stage and she introduces herself, and it's Hey Grill, like Grill. I was like, oh, now I get the brand. Now I understand why her husband's obsessed. Christina, I apologize for being an idiot and not understanding what was going on. But anyway, Susie had an incredible talk. She actually brought me to tears with her story about the millennial dream versus the millennial reality. So she shared up there, and I'm a millennial myself. And so a lot of the speakers, hearing them, some of them were younger, some of them a little bit older, but we all kind of hit around the same age range. So if you're in your late to mid 30s or your early 40s, like that's where the average person was that attended this conference. And what she said up there, like I said, it just moved me so much. She was talking about the millennial dream that we were sold, right? You get good grades in school, you go to college, you get a good job, you find a good partner, and you stay with the same company and retire. And then like all of your dreams come true, right? It's kind of like the Disney princess thing. It's like, we're sold this idea and it ended up becoming like, it is our nightmare. It's really just a nightmare at the end of the day, because it's really freaking hard to, go to school, find the right job, and then not have a ton of debt. Like student loan debt is one of those things. It's like, oh my gosh, like that could be crushing and really, really hard on someone with a brand new job or even a brand new relationship. And then you throw kids into the mix. Like it could just be so freaking stressful. And so hearing her on stage talk about mindset, one of the things was, resetting your mindset. Like, what does that look like? And she talked about her own like gratitude practice and journaling and meditation and working out. And I was like, okay, yes. These are things that I do on a regular basis, but it's also one of those things that, oh yeah, that's why I haven't fully burned out. When people ask me, how have you been doing this since 2018? How are you still going? Like you don't have millions of followers. You don't have a bajillion-dollar business. How do you keep doing this? Like why? Why do you keep showing up? And I go back to, it is those practices. Like I journal every day and I do the whole gratitude thing. Like even as, cliche or overdone or over exaggerated, whatever you want to say about it, like those things really ground me every day. And they remind me why I keep showing up and creating my content. And so hearing her say that from stage and her having this huge successful brand, she had this great picture of her and Shaq. Like she said that she did a Thanksgiving turkey for Shaq one year. And I'm like, wow, who knew that I would be like listening to someone stand on stage that has cooked a turkey for Shaq. Like that's really freaking cool. But all of it comes from her changing her mindset and refocusing her dreams, refocusing her priorities on what could work for her and her family and turning that into a new dream for her. So Susie, huge fan already. Thank you so much for sharing this message because it was so awesome. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Then we went into Adney. So Isa works at ConvertKit. She's a senior storyteller and she has won so many awards. So if you follow ConvertKit's YouTube channel or you've seen the different documentary series that they've done, like, I'm a creator, like there's ones where they follow around musicians, artists, like different people that are in the ConvertKit community. And Isa has done a lot of the production, directing, storytelling behind the scenes. And her story, again, I don't know what it was about day 2. I don't know if we were all just tired, but I mean, everybody got emotional. Everybody got emotional on day 2. But she talked about candle choices, and I'd never heard of this before. So I don't know if she had made this up herself or if this is like out in the ethers in some other form. But what she talked about was her story about not getting into Harvard. And that's actually when she realized that she wanted to be a writer. And it was so profound. And it was such a moving talk that it's one that even if I try to recap the whole thing that she said, I wouldn't get it right. But having her candle choices was really cool. So what it says is 1, change your dream or change your timeline. Oh my gosh. Change your dream or change your timeline. This one really hit me, and I really wanted to bring it back to this audience because I think so many of you start your podcast or you start your YouTube channel, you get going in your content, and you have a timeline on it. And the timeline is usually immediately. It is. You want to start your podcast and immediately be a success. You want to get your YouTube channel up and immediately have 5,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, or you want to start your email list and you want to have 100 people on it, like as soon as you launch it. And I think back to one of the things that when I look at my timeline of all the things that I've done, all the cool opportunities that I've had, the things that are on there weren't ever part of my dream. They were never part of my timeline because I wasn't even dreaming that big. I wasn't. Like, to say that, I've had Instagram lives with Marie Forleo multiple times this year and had a chance to hang out like with her and her team and have conversations about what it's like to be an entrepreneur and how she's created content for Marie TV for so long. Like, that wasn't on the timeline. That wasn't. Being chosen to speak at Ramsey Solutions influencer event in 2021 and making it to the top 10, that wasn't on my timeline. Having an Amazon best-selling book, this was not on my timeline. This was never even there. My timeline was, I want to start a podcast in 2018. And now here we are in 2024, and so many things have changed. So I agree with Isa, like, change your dreams or change your timeline. Maybe that's what you need to do. So if you find yourself frustrated right now for the goals that you've been trying to achieve and you're like, I don't know how to make this work. I don't know how to change this or do something different, then change your dreams or change your timeline. Maybe that's what you need to do. And then the second one is share when you're stuck. This one's hard too, right? So for me, I will share my mistakes all day. This is what I did. I did something so stupid, it's like even, talking about Christina earlier, and I thought it was, hey girl, hey, and it was, hey grill, hey. I don't know. I needed to get some Q-tips to clean out my ears or something, but that's a mistake. And I will happily share that. Like, oh my gosh, like what an idiot. So silly. Like, I'm all about the self-deprecating humor of, I will tell you everywhere I have messed up. But when I'm stuck, that's the part, again, we talked about this in part 1, is like making the ask is really hard for me. So even asking for help when I'm stuck is really hard. So I'm challenging myself to get out of that like stickiness and get unstuck by asking for help. So that's where I am. That's where I am. And I've worked with a coach in the past. And if you find yourself like, I don't know who to ask for help, well then, let's reach out. Let's have a conversation. Maybe I'm not the person that I should be helping you with something that's, really complicated in your business or in your life. But I have lots of cool recommendations. I can tell you that. I've met so many incredible people along the way, and I'd love to pass you to those people because that's what I needed last year. I needed a coach. I needed to get unstuck myself. So share when you're stuck or you're in the messy middle. And then the third candle choice that she shared was declare your dream in the hospital room. And so what this looked like is she shared a story of someone that was in, an unfortunate situation, and they found themselves in a hospital room, and it was probably one of the worst days of their life. But in that moment, they shared and declared the next amazing thing that was going to happen to them. Like, declared it, owned it, and just called it outright. Like, what is that dream? And I think that this happens often when we have those big life moments, whether it's a happy or a sad moment or whatever is going on in your personal life. Like, that's usually like the come to Jesus moments when people are like, wait, like what's happening? And then you have this like, well, I could keep going on the same path, or I could do something different, or I could change, direction, change course, change your path. And I just love this. So declare your dream in the hospital room. So declare your dreams. What are they? Even if they're big, even if they're scary, like what is your dream? Say it out loud. Say it out loud to someone today. That's another challenge for you. It's like, say your dream out loud to someone today and see what happens. So thank you, Isa. Like, fantastic. I'm going to have to link to some of the previous docu-series that she's done because they are incredible. So I teased this in the first, like part 1. Codi Sanchez, she blew my brain. Like she blew my brain. Maybe that's probably not the best analogy, but she blew my mind. Like totally blew my mind. And I actually don't even have all of the notes. I'm getting my iPad out. So this is what I used when I was at the conference. I was like typing furiously on my iPad. And it is something that it's the thing that really helps me stay organized. And so I'm going to pull up what she said, and I will make sure that I share exactly what I'm looking at, but I want to go to Codi's stuff. And like I said, like we could just keep scrolling. I took so many pictures while everyone was talking, but what she said, and I'm going to actually put some clips in this video because I think they were super important. How much money do you think that her and her business have spent on social media this year? Maybe you don't know who Codi Sanchez is. I found her about 6 months ago, and I am just like, where did this force of nature come from? And how is she producing all of this content? Like, holy crap, right? It is so much. She started out with, I've spent $2.9 million on content in 2024 this far. 2.9 million on content. That's how much she spent on it, not earned. It's not how much she earned, how much she spent on content this year. 2.9 million. Y'all, this event happened in June. That's the first 6 months of 2024. And she said she spent $2.9 million on content. So that in of itself showed me a few things. It showed me that one, she's not doing this by herself. Like she even said, she has data strategists, she has content people, like she has videographers, she has all the people following her, taking these clips, editing it, like making it fantastic. And that just made me like go, because she's been one of those people that I followed and I'm like, oh, she must just have her iPhone and she's holding it up and it looks great and she's got all the angles and she's doing this all herself. No, she is not. She is not doing this all herself. And it was so relieving for me to see that. I don't know why, but I needed to hear that. My brain needed to hear that this woman was not creating all of this content herself, because then I was like, okay, thank God, because I was holding myself up to this impossible standard that I thought she was doing all these things. But I'm going to share some clips of some of the things she said. Gets a little racy, gets a little dicey. She said some F-bombs from stage, which was fantastic. They were so well played. But at the end of the day, one of the biggest key takeaways was one that it says here. It says, make your day into content, or make your day having to make content. And so it's still like the same age-old story that we've heard from like Gary Vee, where it's you need to document, don't create. And it's so true. It's so true. That's like me sitting here with you today, like recapping this conference. Part of it is, oh, I needed to go back and revisit the content and read through it and, see like what are the action items that I told myself I would be doing. Like this is me documenting this along the journey. And I think it's really important that we continue to look at things that way. So document, don't create, make your day into content, or make your day having to create content. So fantastic. Codi was fantastic. And she also shared her virality tracker. Oh, y'all, this was so good. And I actually went and I copied the whole thing, and I'm going to share on the screen exactly what it looked like, because her and her team created this in Notion. Hang on one second, because I'm going to find the right one. And so what it says is it's all about preparation beats production. So this is another one. This is like her content approval one. So I'll leave that up on the screen so you can see it and see how her and her team create content. Screenshot it, copy it, go copy with taste, right? Not copy and paste. But I want you to go and see exactly what they do. But she says, kill your darlings. And I love this. I don't know if Stephen King, who wrote this the first time, that was one of the first times that I heard kill your darlings, was he has his book all about, it's called On Writing. And that's exactly what he talks about. He's like, you got to cut the crap, like cut the bad stuff and only make stuff that is really good. And so her editing pipeline and like the virality tracker and all the things, like so helpful. I love this behind the scenes. And of course she talked about buying businesses and all these things. And she spoke so fast. I would not have been able, just like Isa, I wouldn't have been able to recap everything that she said in this talk, but it was fantastic. If you're not following Codi Sanchez, go follow her because she was incredible. All right, let's move into the day 2 workshops because this is one that I'm really excited about. So I'm actually in the process of unveiling my brand new quiz. So the workshop I attended was called How to Make a Lead Generation Quiz for Your Business. I've done quizzes in the past, and I want to give a shout out to Damaris because she's the one that led the workshop along with Josh, who's the founder of Interact. So try Interact quizzes, tryinteract.com. This is what I've used in the past, and it didn't work for me because I think I didn't have the right structure set up and I didn't have the right information to really target who I was trying to reach with this quiz that I did. And so I sat through and I did their new AI. Like, it's incredible. So go to tryinteract.com/AI. And it's amazing. I built my quiz in 5 minutes. So I have the whole shell of it totally finished. And now I'm just working on tweaking it and putting my branding, my style, like hooking all the things up to my website and, ConvertKit's connected, like all those things. But I did this in 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes to build a quiz. And this took me probably 5 days in the past to have at least even getting to the point where I am after just the first 5 minutes. So highly recommend Interact. They have fantastic quizzes, and I think that they have tools to make it really fun. So go check them out. All right, the next one was Barrett Brooks' talk. So Barrett used to be, I think he was the COO at ConvertKit a few years ago, and he now does his own coaching and consulting. I was not supposed to be in his talk. Okay. I was looking for another workshop. So I was looking for this SEO one. It was all about SEO and AI. And I was talking to someone and walking in, and I was just like, oh, wait, like this is not the right room, but it's starting. So I'll go sit down. His workshop was all about people that are way further ahead in the game than me. Like people that already have like Ali Abdaal was like in there, like chilling, like Charlie Pragley, like she was sitting there like right behind me. And I was just like, oh, these are for the big players. And I felt a little out of place, but I was exactly where I needed to be. And I walked up to Barrett afterwards, and I don't know him personally, and I had never really even heard him talk. And I walked up to him afterwards and I said, I needed to hear this because of one thing that you said. And I wrote it down, and he says, you've already made it to where most people will never make it. And when he said that, and it just even thinking about it again makes me a little emotional, I have this problem with comparing myself to other people, right? It's like, I don't have a big enough podcast. My YouTube channel isn't huge. My email list is small. Like I have all of these comparisons that I'm constantly battling in my head. So you call it jealousy, call it envy. And it's like, I have to, again, work on those meditation, gratitude practices, like other mindful things that I need to do to be like, no, quiet that voice down. Like tell it to shut up and go away. But I sat there in that room and I was like, oh, I'm still one of the first kids in my family to ever go to college and graduate. My brothers and I were the first ones in my family to go to college and graduate.
Being a woman in business comes with its own unique set of challenges, but also so many opportunities. We get ahead by leaning in to what makes us different from business as usual. I'm Samantha Hartley, host of Profitable Joyful Consulting, inviting you to a special 6-episode series exploring the experience of being a woman in business. You want to hear from women consultants who've hit $1 million, who sell 6-figure engagements, or who've broken their own revenue ceilings? Yeah, those are my clients, and they'll be sharing too. Join me for 6 must-listen episodes that tackle key challenges for women consultants.
Follow Profitable Joyful Consulting on your favorite podcast app.
That's pretty shocking. Like when I sat there and I sat with it, like all that other BS like melted away. It really did. Like it just totally melted away. It's like all the jealousy and envy and looking at other people and wanting to have, grass is always greener on the other side. Like I want that thing. I want that thing. And then I was like, wait, but you've already made it to where most people will never make it. And if you're watching this, listening to this right now, you are probably in that same boat. It maybe has nothing to do with your education or college or anything, but you've put yourself out there, or you're trying to. You're trying to put your podcast out there. You're trying to publish your YouTube channel. You're trying to post content regularly on social. Like you're doing the thing that most people will never do. And that's pretty amazing. And I just want to give you a shout out, like virtual hug. I want to give you like high five. Like that's incredible. And we need to sit and acknowledge the things that we're doing so well already, because most of us don't pause enough to really sit in that and say, oh yeah, I'm kind of doing the thing that I always wanted to do. And I'm really loving it. So there's that message. I'm going to like, okay, we talked about all kinds of other cool stuff, but that was the number one takeaway we needed from Barrett. All right, now the main stage talks, the afternoon. So Mandy Gubler, she also had me in tears, but she talked about committing to the pivot. So she had this opportunity to create shows on the Magnolia Network. You ever heard of Chip and Joanna Gaines? And she pivoted and walked away from that and instead has something called Happy Houseplants. And I'm like, wait, what? Hang on. What happened? You went from renovations and fixer-upper like type shows to now you sell houseplant products? Like you sell neem oil for plants? What happened? Like where was the transition? And so what she talked about was this really just deep knowing. And, I don't always talk about like intuition. I know I try to talk about like that deep intention that we'll have. It's like, oh, you got to listen to that voice inside of you. But her speaking on stage and talking about this opportunity that she walked away from and having the perspective to really, truly listen to that voice that's inside of you, even if it's weird, even if it's awkward, even if everyone is telling you, what are you doing? Like, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. You could work with Chip and JoJo. Like, what are you doing? And she said, yeah, but that's not the thing. That's not the thing that will fulfill me. That's not the thing that will make me happy. And I am burned out. I'm at my peak in this one thing. And I'm ready to make a pivot to, make a difference. And oh, it was so good. So Happy Houseplant, you have to go check it out because it was so stinking good. So stinking good. Oh, like just, I can't get over all the incredible people that spoke this year. But we have two more speakers we got to get through. So Bonnie Christine. Bonnie spoke last year at Craft and Commerce, and the big takeaway that we had, or I had, and I had to come back and tell my husband because it was so good. So she talked about the apple tree metaphor. So this was her speaking about her own gardening experience. And, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that we've recently become obsessed with gardening. And she talked about having this apple tree. So she planted it. She watched it grow. She was like, oh my gosh, it's going to bloom. It's going to be amazing. Look how big. I have this huge apple tree. It's like, a few years old now. It's not bearing any fruit. None whatsoever. She's like, why is this not working? Why is this not happening? And somebody shouted it like from the crowd. And she was, asking like, who knows why? Who knows why this wasn't happening? You have to have two. You have to have a pair. You have to have a cross-pollination. So I know that this is true for apples. I know it's true for avocados. Like I'm actually growing avocado trees right now. And I had heard someone had told me, I was like, well, you have to have two. You can't just have one. You have to have two. And so Bonnie's talk was saying, you can't just create content. You should also teach. So she was talking about bringing in that education piece. So when people come to me and say, I just want to talk about whatever I want to talk about, I'm like, that's great, but also you need to have something of value, and the education content piece is really one of those secrets to where you can monetize a lot faster because you can sell things when you teach things. You can sell courses, you can sell books, you can sell, whatever digital products that you're wanting to create. And so bringing in that element of not just creating the tree, planting the tree and putting it in the ground, that's your content, but you got to have that education piece too. So you need to have the pair together, creating content and educating, because that could be the beautiful blend that you're looking for to really have your content shine and succeed. So thank you, Bonnie. And as always, her slides were absolutely gorgeous. They were so well put together. But for the grand finale, the main event, Ali Abdaal was hilarious. Like, can I just say that? Like, and I knew who he was and I'd seen some of his content here and there, but oh my gosh, his story was fantastic. He was a doctor and then he decided like, hey, why am I doing this? Like, why don't I start like putting out this productivity and like educational type content, speaking of educational content, right? For people to help them live a more productive life and help them get more done, achieve their goals, and just create this content that was really fun for him. And he is blown up. Like, he has so much incredible resources on his YouTube channel and just all the other different things that he's doing. Plus he was in that workshop where I was like, oh my God, like I just have a college degree. I'm here. Yeah. I'm sitting in the room with literal doctors while they're doing stuff. And that was Ali. And it was just really cool. So he also talked about writing videos and how he creates content for YouTube. So I want to go through a few of these real fast because he put a system and a framework around it, which he called the 3 S's. So systems, strategy, and secret. So the systems, he talked about mapping out the video creation process and what that looked like. So he does the reverse of what I do. And I was like, oh, this is where I need to change things, because I've always started with the idea of planning and, we write the thing and do all the thing. And then I'll, create the show notes, do the title, do the description, do the thumbnails and all that stuff afterwards. And I needed to flip the model on its head. So what I needed to do that Ali was already doing is taking the titles, the thumbnails, doing all that research, then creating the content. So people that have the title already worked out, the thumbnail already created before they even create a YouTube video or they create a podcast episode, that's where we're flipping things on their head. And I hope that you'll come along with me in this journey and experiment, because I think it's going to make a really big difference. But it's all about the concept. So it's the viral replication, copying the title and thumbnail of someone else. Again, copy and taste came up so many times. Whenever copy with taste from John Ushai. But it was all about writing, or when you're creating the videos too, limit what you're going to say. Keep it to 3 to 5 things. Okay. It doesn't need to be this video is, 75 minutes long. If you put it all together, as a really long video, every video doesn't need to be that long, but keep it short. And then he talked about filming. He feels awkward filming by himself. He didn't like recording solo. So he literally have someone come and sit behind the camera asking him questions to create the content. So it is more conversational. There's an actual human being on the other side of the camera while he's talking to help him make it more conversational. So again, do what works best for you. So that's part of the strategy piece. And then, that was part of the systems piece. Then the strategy piece is, he talked about some books that he really loves. He loves $100 Million Secrets, .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. The first one was from Alex Hormozi. Buy Back Your Time book, How to Do Things Right and Which Things to Do. These are just the things that he learned that were really, really helpful to him. And then the secrets, at the end of the day, the secrets are what you have is awesome for creating content. And I know that sounds really cheesy, and I know that's not exactly what he said, but I think it comes back to the secret is balance, and what you have is what you can do with what you've got, right? For me, what I have is I have my work, I have my health, and I have my relationships. And we did this like meditation exercise, which was like, where do you see these things 6 months from now? And I thought about where I want to be in my business. I thought where I want to be in my health and where I want to be in my relationship with my husband, with my family, with my kids. And it was so helpful. And I feel like that is the secret, is constantly looking at what is the life that you're designing and what does that look like for you? Not what everyone else is doing, not what someone else says you should have or should want, but what can you do to really feel more fulfilled in what you're creating and what you're doing in your content and in your business. And if you could just help one person, what kind of an impact would that have for you? So that is a recap of 2024 Craft and Commerce Part 2. Like, so impactful, so incredible. I'm going next year, 100%. Grab your ticket because I will meet you there. I will meet you there. I will be in the front row. Everyone laughs at me because I get in the front row. I don't care. I love it. I'm front row Joe. That's where I'm sitting. I'm camped up there. Like, they know that I'm sitting in the front. Like, I feel like I should make like a reserved for Crystal Profit because that is where I sit every single year. It's same chair, same place, every time, every session. And I love it so much. So thank you for going on this journey with me, this long-winded recap. And if you have any questions about Craft and Commerce, let me know. If you have any questions about ConvertKit, I would love to try to answer them. I'm not promising that I can answer all of them. And I need to say kit, right? Because they are rebranding. They're in the process of making that happen. But yeah. Let me know if you have any questions. But that's all I have for you. So make sure you are following the podcast, you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, and you're hanging out with us. You're part of this audience. You're part of this community. And as always, remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere. Hey, Profit Podcast listeners, thanks for sticking around to a little bit after the episode to hear this special message because I want to hear from you. We are starting a new segment called Fan Mail Shoutouts, and I want to hear from you and I want to hear your questions. What do you want to know? What questions have you been dying to ask me? So here's how to make this happen. Go to the app where you're listening to this podcast right now. Go there. I'll wait a second. Okay. Now, once you're there, you're going to see a hyperlink at the top of the episode description that says, send Crystal a text message. And that's all I want you to do. Send me a text. It could be casual, informal. It could be totally anonymous. Or if you want, you can include your name and the name of your podcast or content wherever you are creating, and I will give you a special shout out in an upcoming episode. So again, go to the show notes for where you're listening to this episode right now, and it will say, send Crystal a text message. And I cannot wait to hear from you and give you a shout out in an upcoming segment of Fan Mail Shoutouts.